It's the Descendant! Look, Keelan! I was right, wasn't I? I told you HQ would send reinforcements. Looks like I won that bet. Oh, this is great! Drinks for me all night at the Brown Beard.
I don't mind you drinking all night, but just stop talking. You talk too much.
No, I'm gonna talk as much as I want all night long. Oh, right. I'm Inez Rhea, a Descendant with Hound. Nice to meet you. This is the first time I've worked with another Descendant. I was assigned to Hound as soon as I finished my Descendant training. My unit is only sent on missions to Void vessels, so we rarely run into other Descendants who might be heading to intercept battle locations. Hey, Keelan, haven't you two met before? You were in the Descendant Corps before coming here.
Don't know. Don't really care about other people.
You know, every time you behave like this, I have to just take a deep breath. If I didn't, I might hit you on the head. For goodness sake, why can't you just get on with people? You get along fine with Jeremy. What's your problem?
None of your business. I'm dealing with it.
Sure you are.
Anyway, how long are you gonna leave the Descendant just standing there, Inez?
I was just about to explain. So, Descendant, we'll keep you fully briefed about the mission, but you'll find a Void vessel very different from the Void intercept battle locations you're used to. We don't know what traps or hazards it might have, so you'll need to be more careful than usual. It won't be easy, but I heard that you're quite the star in the Descendant Corps. I'm sure you'll do just fine on Hound missions too. It's a shame I can't come exploring with you. I could be a huge help. But I've only been back from the Void for a few days, so I can't go with you. You know, too much exposure to Void energy being dangerous and all that. I'll do what I can from here to help you with whatever you need. All right, Descendant? Let's do this. Keelan, you could say something encouraging too.
Good luck on the mission. Let's try not to get in each other's way.
He's got a bit of an attitude problem, but he's also got a heart of gold. So please don't be offended. Sincerely, Inez.
You are here, Descendant. I have something to tell you concerning the Void Abyss. The Void Abyss is a place that is unknown even to me. I cannot find anything about it in my systems. I have searched the records of Albion headquarters for solid information, but unfortunately there are very few documents about the Void Abyss. One thing I have discovered is that void energy is very strong in the Abyss, and there are elements there that do not exist in Ingress. Void energy has a negative effect on the Arcade of Descendants. You and I are linked by Arcade, which means our link could be broken. For now, I can only hope that our link will remain intact. But there are no guarantees. I will look into a way to stay linked to both you and Keelan for as long as possible. Please acquire as much data as you can from the Void Abyss and VV-072. When you return to Albion, I will analyze the data and plan our next course of action.
Biosignals are unstable.
Keelan, are you all right?
What's about the Descendant?
Still in void space. Stay where you are until the rendezvous.
I can handle it myself. Let's get this operation going.
Keelan, I need a status report.
I'm searching the interior. This is...
What's happening?
gunfire.
Keelan, the signal is on the move.
I know. Focus, gun. Engaging!
We've lost the Vulgus signals. Keelan has made contact with the target.
HQ, there's been a mistake. It's just an ordinary dog.
The signal is still responsive. It might have something to do with the ship.
Oh, no way.
Keelan's archaeometrics are stabilizing.
This dog, he's not as ordinary as he looks.
This thing is jamming our signals. Communications are...
Keelan, abort! Get out of there now!
HQ, check your comms. HQ! This facility is...
Get on with it! You pathetic vermin!
Damn it! Come on.
After him. Find him and kill him.
Descendant, I'm glad you made it back safely. I heard the amount of pressure in the Void Abyss was huge. And yet you still managed to complete the operation. You really are talented. I'd love to have you join our unit. Wouldn't that be great, Keelan?
Sure, they're useful enough. They don't get in the way and they can hold their own. Thanks to you, the mission was a success. You did well, even though you weren't trained for it. Inez, why are you looking at me like that?
Wow! The Void Abyss really is a scary place. It's changed your arcade traits, and now it's even changed your personality. I've never heard you compliment anyone before. Keelan's still in there somewhere, right?
Never mind. Descendant, you should pay HQ a visit. I hear they're preparing a follow-up operation. Inez, I've got to drop by the Magister Research Institute. I'm a little worried about that doggo we rescued.
Wow! I swear that didn't sound like Keelan. I didn't know he liked dogs. There you are. I'm as confused as you are by HQ's decision. A redeployment so soon after your return.
Though I can see why HQ ordered it. It's the Void Abyss after all. And there are Vulgus all over VV-072.
And, unfortunately, the data you collected contained very few valuable leads. Plus the unexpected Vulgus presence. I suppose HQ had no choice.
The presence of the Vulgus on VV-072 means it's likely they're also looking for something there. Probably information that can give them an advantage over us. Traveling into the Void Abyss isn't easy, even for the Vulgus. There must be something important for them to take that risk. If VV-072 is a Vulgus ship, they have the advantage. We won't be able to stop whatever the Vulgus are planning if we fall behind now. That's why a second sweep is absolutely necessary.
Keelan's right. So I pulled something together as well. This device contains a code to break the Vulgus algorithm. When the specialized code loaded onto this device is activated, it will automatically collect Vulgus records from all over the Void vessel. Analyzing those records will tell us why the Vulgus came to VV-072. I'm counting on you, Descendant. There you are. You've done a great job collecting the data. I've processed and analyzed the information you uploaded. Let me break it down for you. Firstly, we only discovered VV-072 recently, but the Vulgus records go back way before we discovered it. That means the Vulgus didn't discover VV-072 around the same time as we did. They'd already been there for a long time. Luckily, the data you collected was quite detailed, giving us some clues as to why the Vulgus went to VV-072, and what they've been looking for there all this time. For starters, the information the Vulgus are after is probably related to the Ironhearts, and it's most likely the information on where the Ironhearts are hidden.
How can you be sure?
Look! This is geographical data on Ingress. It accounts for a significant portion of all the data we have, and some of it is locked with quantum encryption. The Vulgus surveyed the entire topography of Ingress 100 years ago. For them to go all the way to the Void Abyss to look for topographical information means...
It probably has something to do with the Ironhearts.
Considering how accurately Corell was able to locate the Ironheart, he must have found the information here.
If only we'd been faster. We could have turned the tables on them. Wait. Inez. What's this?
Oh, I was just about to get to that. This data is very old. It's about an engagement the Vulgus fought against an enemy on VV-072.
Hang on. Isn't this referring to Aisha's squad?
Yes, that's what I thought too. The way they described how they looked, the technology they used, their firearms, and especially the mention of the Rose of Aisha, Aisha's weapon. Everything fits, down to the bullet specs.
That means Aisha's squad survived the Void Storm and made it to VV-072.
It seems that way, but there's no record of what happened to them. If the Vulgus had killed them, it would be in these records. But there's nothing further after an entry saying they lost the targets. It's complicated. Anyway, Descendant, I'll go over this with HQ and get back to you.
I overheard your conversation with Inez and Keelan. As they guessed, the enemy that the Vulgus engaged was definitely Aisha. I had my doubts when I started reviewing the records, but when it got to the part about a red handgun and a rose engraved on it, I was convinced. A handgun engraved with a red rose was Aisha's most cherished weapon. As you know, not many Descendants use handguns as their primary weapon, and no Descendant would insist on using a handgun unless it was an RK-unique weapon. For me, that confirmed the enemy that the Vulgus engaged, mentioned in those records, was Aisha. I've been obsessed with finding Aisha, waiting for the right time to go and search for her. Now that the opportunity is finally here, I've been excluded from the operation. I don't resent Alpha's decision. He's made a wise choice. But I need to ask you to do something. It's now or never. Will you look for signs of Aisha during this operation? It doesn't matter how small they are. I want to see them with my own eyes. I desperately need this.
Descendant, I've been waiting for you. That must be the algorithm Eckert modified. I'll apply it right now. When the algorithm activates, you'll be able to detect data that was previously obscured by the high levels of void energy. It'll provide an opportunity to retrieve data that would otherwise be missed due to the wavelengths. The first data to collect is the RK wavelengths remaining on BB-072. These are the records left behind by any descendants. This is a chance for us to see events that took place, people we've lost, and any truths that may have been obscured. Descendant, I hope you return safely after completing the operation.
Right on time. We've just completed analysis. The results aren't bad, but they aren't great either. Starting with the results of the detailed analysis, it's been confirmed that all of these records were modified with a specific decryption system developed by Albion headquarters, all with different IDs too. Which means, as we suspected, Aisha's squad did make it to VV-072.
The problem is the next part. We've analyzed the records we believed have been left by Aisha's squad. I just can't make sense of them.
It's like Keelan said. The more I examine the records, the creepier it gets, the harder it is to understand. It's like a diary of someone suffering from nightmares. It's that erratic. I'm going to request that Data Intelligence do secondary analysis on it. A more detailed analysis might reveal repetitions, or anything that could help us understand what happened. This doesn't seem to be just about Aisha, but about her entire squad. So I hope we can find some clues.
We'll take care of this. You get to HQ and brief them. Before you do, you can upload this data to Ajax's Receive channel. I bet he's been waiting for it.
Whoa, Keelan! You finally learned some social skills. I'm lost for words. You're going to respond to my messages right away from now on, right?
I've always answered you immediately. With silence.
Descendant, I apologize for rushing you here like this. While conducting the secondary analysis requested by Hound, I discovered something new. The Vulgus weren't just after information about the Ironhearts, they were also looking for something else entirely. It was what you and Keelan discovered during your first foray, the unidentified life form. The Vulgus were looking for research data on that life form, as well as anything else related to the Ironhearts. Data that could reveal the location of the Ironhearts should be reason enough to go to VV-072. But for them to also look for data on that life form means it must represent a great strategic benefit to them. The Ironhearts and the R&D on an unidentified life form. The link between them is the Ancestors. Now that we know for certain that VV-072 is not a Vulgus ship, the only other beings capable of building a vessel of that size were the Ancestors. The problem is that we have been unable to figure out why the Ancestors left Ingress after quantum encrypting geographical data on Ingress, and why they researched the creation of the unidentified life form on that vessel. It feels like I'm sinking deeper into the void abyss myself the more I investigate this. I wish I could find a clear answer. For now, Command will work with the Magisters to hypothesize the most likely explanation. I'll get back to you when we have something meaningful to report.
You found some special data from the Void Abyss. Intriguing and captivating data, in fact. The organism that Keelan rescued from the Void Vessel is no ordinary dog. It's the product of highly complex and sophisticated genetic engineering involving RK. The signal picked up in the Void Abyss was a sensor of sorts, the organism's response to Keelan's RK waves. Up until this point, only Descendants have been able to respond to and detect RK. But it seems that this organism has a very specialized sensitivity to RK. We are discovering new possibilities for this fascinating creature every day. Similar to when we first saw the possibilities of humanity. The Magisters speculate that this organism was created by the ancestors. It's just a theory, for now, of course. We've categorized this organism as a new species, an RK Fellow. This category means that it's a being that responds to RK and can help Descendants in a variety of ways, which is, of course, what we plan to use them for. I've also discovered a way to research Fellow, given enough materials. But as this organism came from the Void Vessel, you'll need to gather the materials from there. I'm hoping you'll be able to help me collect the materials I need to research this organism while you're on other operations. You found some special data from the Void Abyss. Intriguing and captivating data, in fact. The organism that Keelan rescued from the Void Vessel is no ordinary dog. It's the product of highly complex and sophisticated genetic engineering involving RK. The signal picked up in the Void Abyss was a sensor of sorts, the organism's response to Keelan's RK waves. Up until this point, only Descendants have been able to respond to and detect RK. But it seems that this organism has a very specialized sensitivity to RK. We are discovering new possibilities for this fascinating creature every day. Similar to when we first saw the possibilities of humanity. The Magisters speculate that this organism was created by the ancestors. It's just a theory, for now, of course. We've categorized this organism as a new species, an RK Fellow. This category means that it's a being that responds to RK and can help Descendants in a variety of ways, which is, of course, what we plan to use them for. I've also discovered a way to research Fellow, given enough materials. But as this organism came from the Void Vessel, you'll need to gather the materials from there. I'm hoping you'll be able to help me collect the materials I need to research this organism while you're on other operations.
Like HQ, I also believe that VV-072 is an ancestor ship. Most of the technology present on VV-072 is a match for that of the ancestors. Many of the technological marvels created by the ancestors are based on the same algorithm as I am. Therefore, it should be possible to use my code to access the ship's internal operating systems. And I know Eckert has developed an algorithm that minimizes interference from void energy. This is a new form of analytical code that merges Eckert's algorithm with my decryption code. Uploading this code to the ship's systems should enable you to find the data hidden by the ancestors. The ancestors' data is likely to be quantum encrypted, and it will take some time to decrypt it. But if you are patient, you will acquire a vast amount of data. If I had any records relating to the ship, I could have hastened the process. But for some reason, there is no information on the Void Abyss, Void Vessels, or VV-072 in my records. I am perplexed by this, but it is not too late if we hurry. We can still stop the Vulgus and overcome the increasing information. Descendant, VV-072 was a scientific research vessel constructed by the ancestors. The ship was named the Bastion of Eternity. I do not know how this ship ended up adrift in the Void Abyss, but we can only assume that the ancestors possessed interstellar navigation technology. There was something else that required urgent analysis. The core objective of the ancestors' research on the Bastion of Eternity. This was presumably a way to create the Colossi. The Fellow you and Keelan found was not the end goal of the ancestors. The Fellow is merely a byproduct of their work on the technology to construct the Colossi. According to the research data you have secured, The Ancestors were developing a technology that uses RK as a raw material to separate mind from body, then implants that RK in a mechanical body of considerable power. If, for some reason, all Ancestors were transformed into Colossi because of this research, it explains why there are no signs of the Ancestors on the Bastion of Eternity now. This research could also be the reason why you could not find any traces of Aisha's squad. The technology to construct Colossi. What could be more tempting to the Vulgus? That must be why the Vulgus continue to search for this. The key technology needed to construct the Colossi, and the records of that research. I have yet to discover any evidence that the Ancestors' research was successful, so this is only a theory. I hope that it does not turn out to be correct. Descendant, please report these discoveries to HQ. They require HQ's careful consideration.
I have examined the conversation with the guide that you uploaded to the command console. So the Ancestors researched the construction of the Colossi, and the Vulgus are looking for that research data. I find this difficult to accept, but we have data that supports the guide's hypothesis. Inez extracted this voice file after filtering out the interference caused by void energy.
Ajax! Ajax!
We analyzed the wavelength of the voice and found that it matched the sounds emitted by the Colossi. There has never been a single reported case of a Colossus speaking a human language. We are even more confused now that we have heard the guide's hypothesis, but HQ will not automatically assume Aisha's squad is deceased. Instead, we're increasing our efforts to find a way to rescue them. It's entirely possible that they left the Bastion of Eternity and are still alive elsewhere. For now, the report and data will be placed on the agenda for an emergency meeting at HQ. I will contact you when the meeting is concluded. Thank you for your efforts with this difficult operation, Descendant.
I've read and reread the records from the Bastion of Eternity. I must have gone over them dozens of times. But what I read was so unbelievable. What the hell happened to them? I wondered if my prolonged exposure to the energy of the Void Abyss was causing me to hallucinate. That's the only answer I could come up with. I've had experiences in the Void Abyss so vivid that I couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't. But we have no conclusive evidence that Aisha and her squad are dead. As Nell said, it's possible they're still alive, somewhere. And even if something happened to her squad, I believe Aisha is still alive at least. No additional evidence has been found. There is no record of mutation. And I'll never give up on rescuing her. I'll find her, no matter the cost. I know it took a lot of hard work and dedication on your part to acquire this information. Thank you for that, and also for what it means to me, personally. I may not be able to leave right away, but once we've found all of the Iron Hearts, I'll go to the Void Abyss. I will never give up hope. But until the right time presents itself, I'll focus on finding the Iron Hearts. Thank you, Descendant. I won't forget this.
Great! You're here! I just wanted to let you know that you did good. When we began this operation, I thought we probably needed to maybe be a little more careful than normal. But as things progressed, I realized we were actually in for a real challenge. Without your help, we would have never got through this. Thank you, Descendant. I really wish I could have been there. It's a real shame. Anyway, Descendant, would you like to join our unit? We could really use someone as capable as you. I'll treat you really, really well. Just think about it, okay?
If I were you, I'd think about the offer.
Keelan, it's times like these that we need to recruit a competent Descendant. We're already short-staffed. We won't have another opportunity like this for a long time.
She's been like this ever since she completed her Hound training. She tries to recruit anyone who looks promising to make up for our lack of troops.
Who was it that came up to you when you were brooding in a corner? Everyone I've recruited is doing just fine, right?
Yeah, that's why I said I like them. They don't get in the way, and they can hold their own.
Then shouldn't you put more effort into trying to recruit them?
I'll think about it.
Ugh, always with the attitude. Anyway, good job, Descendant.
Yeah, good work. See you later.